The most important person in the whole wide world is you, and you hardly even know you. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. Let's find out more about the things you feel and do, 'cause you're the most important person in the world to you.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to One4ALLisLove, and One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit. And I am Sonya Spirit. And today being Wednesday, June 10th, 2020, today's topic is accept change and grow forward. So, there is a lot of change that is happening currently. We have a global pandemic. We have civil unrest. We have pollution dissipation. I don't know how long that's going to last now that states are opening up and countries are getting back to business. But there's a lot of change that's taking place. Hey, in 2020, we talked about the year of the four and foundation, but I don't think we were expecting this. It feels more like a five as far as change and transitioning. However, when it's time to come, when it's time to do its thing, it's going to do its thing. That being nature, harmony. Okay, so there are no accidents, coincidences, or happenstances. Everything serves a purpose, whether we are cognizant of it or not. And, of course, I mentioned our planet is undergoing a global pandemic, economic turmoil, climate corrections, and protests for racial equality. Not just racial equality, but yes, racial equality, but also the elimination of police brutality. And I know there's a lot of talk about defunding the police or dismantling the police. And I have no problem with any of it, to be quite honest. Personally, I feel like all police officers need to undergo a psychiatric evaluation as part of, and maybe they do, but I doubt it. Not based on the behavior that we see. And I'm not saying that this applies to everyone or all of them, but the psych evaluation should apply to everyone and all of them. Because if you are in a position where you have to serve the public, you have to protect them, you are armed, you have to be able to conflict management, conflict resolution, how to neutralize or reduce the tension in a situation. The word escaped me that I was looking for. But this requires a lot of psychological and sociological skills, a skill set, okay? Yeah, protecting is one of them. But see, the way we're going about things is wrong. But this is not the political show, so I'm still going to get into it. But just bear with me. Okay, so, of course, our external world is a reflection of our collective consciousness. So that's important because of everything that we see. Now, of the things, the changes that I just mentioned about that's taking place, the only one that's positive is climate corrections, okay? And sadly, those will probably only be temporary because, or maybe it won't, to be quite honest. Because I don't feel like, what's happening is the result of, the coronavirus. I think the coronavirus and everything else that's taking place is part of the change that is supposed to be taking place. Good, bad, and indifferent. So, but getting back to, so our world is a reflection of our collective conscious. So each one of us, the one for all, okay, that's where one for all comes from. We all, each individual, each one of us, all contribute to the collective consciousness. So whether you know it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, it doesn't matter. We all participate in the collective conscious because there's only one conscious. There's only one conscious. So we all contribute to it. The racists, the bigots, the sexists, the pedophiles. Everyone contributes to this collective consciousness. So what we're seeing now is really a diseased state of the planet. Because remember, all disease stems from the mind. And when I say mind, I mean consciousness. What type of thoughts are you entertaining? Okay. So, yeah, so the planet is diseased. It's ill, and really has been for a while. It's just to the point now where it's really trying to get our attention. Hey, I'm not playing. Pay attention. We are in a sad situation, in dire straits, I think a lot of us were expecting more natural disasters or something like that as far as when change would be forthcoming. I didn't expect a global pandemic because I'd never experienced one before. But, I know there's been a few in the past. But I guess that's part of being ignorant of your history. So, of course, our conscious is undergoing a transformation. We're in the age of Aquarius. But the beauty is, it's time for us to change, and it's time for things to change. I mean, look at the state of the world, and there's so much tension, hatred, just negative energy, period. I don't want to get into all the details, but there's so much negative energy. But there's also a lot of love out there. So I don't want to harp on the negative energy. But I do want those who are ready and willing to start making changes positively in their own life. Those are the folks that I want to focus on. And the reason why is because the sooner you start practicing application, remember, knowing is only half the battle. The other half is application. Excuse me. So, as soon as we get, oh, shucks, damn it. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But, so we're in the age of Aquarius, and we're undergoing this great transformation in terms of consciousness, which I'm excited about. I know, with change, and the thing about it is, okay, I know I'm all over the place. Hey, I'm a Gemini, and my birthday's next week, so, I'm really on edge now, but not on edge in a negative way, just hype, so to speak. So yeah, we're undergoing a transformation, and but there, for every adversity, and this is what it's all about accepting change and growing forward. For every adversity, there is an equal or greater opportunity. Okay, so even with the global pandemic, what is it? I don't know. I haven't really meditated on it. I haven't really asked for it to be disclosed or revealed to me. And the way I feel about it is, I try to flow in harmony. So, when the universe is ready for me to know, then I'll know. And the purpose of staying in harmony is so that, like harmony, faith, all of that is just like an umbrella or armor of protection, of spiritual protection. But it's not just, people think of spirituality as something outside of themselves. It's actually all of who you are, to be quite honest. It's all of who you are. So, oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought again. Please forgive me. But yeah, so it's all of who we are. So when we talk about things spiritually, it's not a separate entity. Everything that we do, even though it's unbeknownst to us, the air that we breathe, the breath that we breathe, which we'll get into a little later on too, that's spiritual. That's spiritual. And we don't give any thought to breath until someone's life has been extinguished through strangulation or suffocation, strangulation or suffocation. Yeah, I have a lot on my mind. Anyway, so let's discuss the art and science of change and transformation in tumultuous times and harmonious ways in which we can receive, integrate, and express these changes. And my recommendation is do what is comfortable for you. Everyone is not a protester. Everyone is not an activist who's going to be downtown with their sign or wherever it is that they're protesting. That's not everyone, okay? But there are things that you can do. You have a voice, and find a way to express your voice, okay? But take the big picture in mind. So do what is comfortable, whether it's campaigning, meditating, organizing, protesting, prayer, letter writing, or just every day being kind. And most people who are kind in general, they don't get credit for the way they behave. They don't even talk about the way they behave. They just behave that way because it comes natural to them. Or maybe they did work at it. But at any rate, when you do good, it's nothing to brag about. You don't get points for that. It's like a joke that Chris Rock had when he said, well, he was talking about black men because he's a black man, but he may have been just talking about men in general, but how, men make it seem like a big deal when they parent. And, of course, Chris Rock's thing is, that's what you're supposed to do. You brought it into this world. It is your responsibility. So, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be kind to each other, okay? We're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to be understanding and patient. And I know I'm not, I know I'm guilty of not always being patient, but I'm working on that. So, let's see. We have a caller. Let's see what a caller has to say here. Hello, caller.
Yay.
Can you hear me?
Yay.
Hey, yay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi.
Yeah, I got on. I thought you were going to go on with your thing. Yeah, hi.
No, yes, hi. And who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
This is way busy. Way busy.
Way. I remember you. Oh, Way.
No.
I know you have some. Yes, huh? Yes. Oh, yeah, I remember you. You're the I don't want to call you a preacher because you're not really a preacher because you're a very eloquent speaker. You're not.
Yeah, you know what? It's like this. It's like you. You're if you go too far this way, you'll freeze, and if you go too this way, you'll burn up. So
sir.
Where it's perfect temperature, perfect weather. It's a bright, clear blue sky, and it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful day, and I get to share it with you, and I'm thankful that I get to talk and just reflect what you were projecting, because where you're coming from is such a beautiful place, and I appreciate the wonderfulness of meeting you here and having this time to reflect what you're projecting about your higher self and staying true to who you are, because you are important. You are very important. And since you're important, I always wonder, well, why are you so important? And the reason why you're so important to me and everyone else is because of the excitement that is before you. And that's your future. And so I always kind of think, well, how do you stay with that higher self? And you've learned that when you lived over here on this side, that there was something that was sucking the life out of you, energy that was being sucked out of you, loved you down here as much as it loves you up here. But this is where you're supposed to be, up here. And as you learn and grow up in love up here, then you can take your credentials and come back down here, because, love is an action, and you're going to see you coming down so that there's the work down here that you're doing. And the work is allowing the Spirit to move in you in a way that is going to show up to these people outside of yourself as wisdom that is a helper. Wisdom is a her, and she is a helper, and she helps you to get things done in a way that you couldn't do without her help.
That was beautiful, Wade. But, I think we all have something to contribute. I know we all don't, but I think we all possess something to contribute. We all can be examples, and I'm hoping that we're all moving in that direction.
Yeah. We move in a direction because love is an action. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you rely on your feelings, okay, that's when you're making mistakes. And a lot of us make mistakes because of the way that the adolescent part of ourselves, where we haven't grown up yet, does these things. It profanes this temple. And so, of course, we're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. But at the moment of realization is what I'm talking about. And that's where you get the opportunity to grow in the knowledge of who you are. And we were talking about that higher self. We were talking about the awareness of self, which is an emotional intelligence. A lot of us down here, and I hear a lot of people crying out, and these people are on the bottom. And they have rights, and they know they do. But they don't know how to exercise their rights, okay? They do this in an improper way of using what they have, work for them. So we want to help them to get it to work for them instead of against themselves.
I agree. So we're trying to help people find their way. Yes?
Absolutely.
So, Wade,
go
ahead. Yes?
So remember the darkness. The darkness is when people do things in ignorance. Okay? That's darkness. Okay? Now remember, the darkest negative always has the brightest picture. The darkest negative has the brightest picture of what? God's love, because this is what we're talking about. This is what we're walking in. This is what God sees. God sees the faith that he gave you at work in your life of obedience to what he says, because the faith that he's given you demands that you listen to him. So he knows everything about what you're going through because he's the great sympathizer. He can sympathize with all points of what you're going through. And that's why you get to eat every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh, because you're listening to him and not listening to what man says about what he thinks that God is saying to you, which is a mistake. But we all make these mistakes, okay? It's the way it works.
It's growing pains.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's growing, and that's, excuse me. I agree with you about the darkest negative having the brightest picture, because the opportunity exists in terms of translating it into people. The opportunity exists, the promise of growth and spirituality and being close to God and aligning yourself with God and being, I do understand, because it wasn't that long ago it was me. But, when you relate to yourself as just a human, we limit our power and our ability and our relationship. We imprison ourselves with our language. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at you because you say it nicely. I think I say it a little more aggressively than you do.
Oh, well, it's okay.
Yeah, because you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yes, sir. It's the same message. Well, Wade, do you want to share any thoughts before I move on to my next caller? I really appreciate you calling in. I hadn't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, thank you. I was a little bit, I just get intimidated sometimes. I don't want to I kind of get into places and then I kill it. And I'm thinking, man, you just killed it. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a good way, because it's all good. I just don't understand everything, why I say certain things I say. But I can say this much. When you're talking to people and they're going to come into what you're saying, right? They can pay attention. They can pay attention to their intentions while they're coming in, right?
Mhm.
You're going to put the sign up. Pay attention. Observe your intentions when you're coming into this. And then when you come in here with those intentions, and then when you're leaving, there's another sign that says observe. It says
your expression.
Observe. No. Your distractions.
That's
what I got to say.
The distraction. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's important. You come in.
Yeah, very important. Very important.
Right. You come into it with these intentions because you're excited about what you're going to receive, because you're looking to get something, and then when you're on your way out, pay attention to the distractions, because we want you to be focused on what's important, and that's what matters most.
You're right. You are absolutely right. And there are plenty of distractions out there. Plenty. And it's so easy for people to become bogged down and absorbed, and it doesn't benefit them. But, that's experience. That's experience, or that's some people learn by listening to others, but most people learn by experience. And some people catch on quicker than others, too. So, if you're repeating the same patterns, it's because you haven't learned your lesson, not you personally, but in general.
Yeah. Sure, I can
yes,
understand
sir.
that.
Well,
I appreciate that.
Well, Wade, I appreciate you calling. I'm going to have to move on to my next caller, if that's okay.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you. And I just want to say, continue onward and upward.
Have you ever thought about doing your own podcast?
I'm a chicken.
Why?
I'm
you are
chicken.
not a chicken.
Because I know, but I don't do responsibility like most people do. And I have to remember that, it's not that I don't want to take on responsibility, but I just want to let God transfer that responsibility to me at the time in my life when I'm ready for it. So I don't like to get ahead of myself, because when I do that, then I start seeing what I did, which is I got in the way of what I was saying, and I got in the way of what God was doing in my life, and then I see myself getting in the way of what God's doing in someone else's life, and that just blows me away and makes me want to get down on the ground and say, please, God, forgive me for what I did. And God says, I just wanted to make sure that you were paying attention. And he says, no worries. And I say, thank you, God. It's not about me, and it's all about you. So we keep doing what we do because that's what we do, because that's what matters most to you and me, and that's what everybody's going to see, right?
That's right. And I appreciate your honesty and your candor about yourself. You know yourself. Most people don't even know themselves. Listen, I got to go, Wade, because I got another caller. But I do it. Listen, but you're right there. You know yourself well enough to no, that's not what I want to do. And when the time is right, if that's the opportunity, no, I get it. I get it 1,000%, because I'm a fan. I'm a proponent of harmony. I want to, just like you, I just want to be in the flow of nature and God's flow. And when it's time for me to receive, I'll receive. When it's time for me to give or express, I know exactly what you mean. And that's why I can appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right, Wade. Okay, I got to go. But thank you. And call again.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. I love talking. Way busy. Okay, we have another caller. Let's see what's going on. Hello, caller. Welcome to One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit. And to whom am I speaking with?
Hi, my name is Carrie. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi, Carrie. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. It's interesting. I came in the house and just, something led me over to Blog Talk and to your show, but not, 10 minutes earlier when I walked inside, I saw a black and yellow butterfly, which is also the photograph on your page.
That's interesting.
So here I am.
So what's on your mind, Carrie?
Well, I think it's just, it's a transitionary time. I've had a lot of personal transitions I've been trying to accomplish over the course of, I'd say a few years now, but kind of going through a difficult separation, but powering through this time. I kind of lost my power in the past, but sometimes in order to, you know, you can't go around things. You have to go through them, and trying to do so with grace can prove difficult at times. So I'm learning in this process, and, you know, just kind of trying to focus and remain grounded and ultimately achieve the best outcome.
Okay, so I know you touched on a few things. You said transitions and separation and losing your power and trying to be graceful under the, you know, pressure or stress or transition, so to speak. I don't really want to say pressure or stress. So what are some of the things that you do to help as far as like relieve stress or pressure, or when you find yourself out of sorts? Is there anything that you practice or you try to do to balance yourself out and stay grounded?
You know, before I was in this relationship, I, you know, did a lot of meditation, practiced yoga regularly, and just felt more connected to myself, and, you know, everything. It was just a different perspective that I had, and I lost myself more in this relationship, but the relationship proved to be very, I don't like labels, so I don't want to say abusive, but it wasn't very warm. It took me a while to figure that out.
It wasn't as healthy.
Yeah, it was not healthy at all. It still is not. We're not married, but we are connected through property, real estate, you know, and it's just very, very difficult for the sake of being difficult. And some people, I realized, are like that. And I am through this, you know, as much as it's been difficult, I've learned the only one I can control and change is myself, and not to hold out too much breath for other people to do that. But, you know, you'd like to see the best in everyone, so that's who I am. But, again, you have to also now, I've realized that you can't really be that vulnerable too soon. So I've gotten back into meditation and yoga. But it's just a relationship where the more I become strong or do for myself, that person really doesn't like that. So it's not that I hide that, but I just do it in my own sacred space, if that makes sense, instead of where I would normally, you know, hopefully in the future get to a point where I can embrace it fully and immerse myself in it again, you know, whether it's in a group setting or running a class, you know, it's something I truly enjoy. But, you know, sometimes you just don't want to give that much information out to the wrong people so that they know how to hurt you, where it hurts the most, if that makes sense to you.
No. I know exactly what you're saying. Or I think I have a good feeling of what you're saying. I don't want to say I know exactly what you're saying.
I'm just trying to say it in a nice way.
Yes. So now you two are not together anymore, correct? Or are you still together?
We're not. Our
I know you said you're not married, but you have a relationship,
our relationship
with
a while ago. Yeah, but we live together.
You said what? Okay. Are you trying to get out of the relationship?
Yes, absolutely. The property we own is not just a single-family property. It's a rental property too. Actually, my father passed here a few years ago, so it was mine, and he came in and he became my co-owner. But the relationship's just been very narcissistic, very controlling. You know, nothing could be agreed upon. None of them are rented. So it's just sort of getting all of those loose ends tied up to leave. And he, as someone who has more financial resources, could leave, but chooses not to, if that makes sense. So it doesn't make sense to me that he would do it. But we have a dog. So it's harder to kind of transition with that. But that's my ultimate goal, yes, is breaking free from this. Even though it meant so much to me, that is in my past. It's just my happiness is more important.
Yes, ma'am, it is. It certainly is. And also, too, you know, whatever you spend your time thinking about and feeling is going to continue to manifest in your life. So if you're in a relationship or any type of situation that you don't feel is healthy and it doesn't, you know, it's not in where you're in a position to grow, then you just kind of want to learn your lessons and keep moving. You know, especially it doesn't. I'm not sure, but it just sounds like that it may not be salvageable. And if that's the case, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you do meditation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, no, just a lot of deception. And that's why I think the butterfly, to bring it full circle, that just reminds me, it's like time to spread your wings. I used to be a flight attendant and fly. So, I mean, for me, all of that, and then seeing her page with the photograph, it just kind of clicked, and I said, I need to call in. I'm meant to talk to her today.
Oh, I'm so glad it spoke to you. But it sounds like you're on the right track because you're back into your meditation, your yoga, and you just want to learn from this experience. Because, you know, with every adversity is, and I say this all the time, you know, every adversity provides a equal or greater opportunity for growth, for betterment. So even though you're going through this and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you know, you may have thought he was someone different. You know, it's still your experience, good, bad, or indifferent. But you know that because that's why you've shifted back to, you know, who you were originally. And it's interesting because I do have a similar experience. I was married at the time. And it was with someone who, you know, I felt like was antagonizing. And I felt like he kept bringing me out of character. And I realized I can't do this. This is not who I am, you know. And we went our separate ways. But of course, you know, we've made amends and we're certainly cordial and respectful towards each other, you know. Excuse me. So, and I've learned, you know, I've looked back and I've learned how I have grown and how that experience served me, even though, you know, when you're in the middle of it, it's like, oh my gosh, can I please get out of this? You know, just rescue me, someone. So, you know, it's kind of difficult. Go ahead. Which
is not funny you said rescue, only because he is a firefighter. The guy I'm involved with. It's great, you know, the normal, and that's my experience. One bad apple shouldn't, you know, ruin for everybody, but we'll just say that he's not exactly showed those characteristics behind closed doors. So again, covertly narcissistic. I'm not here to even reveal. It's just that it's only to get reactions out of me, to bring out. I almost feel like he's projecting his bad characteristics on me because I am, you know, subject to reactions. I mean, a lot of things didn't make sense. Why am I feeling this way? What is this? Why is the privilege, like gaslighting, a lot of gaslighting. You know, if you ask me a question, something wasn't there, what is there? Now it's not there again, and it's just mind game, you know. So people do exist like
and
that.
And it's exhausting. Yes.
Yes. So thank you for validating that.
Yes.
I thought I was going for a long time.
No. No.
Okay.
I meant when I said earlier about, yes, I can relate because I haven't had the same experience as you, but I can certainly relate to a lot of the things that you are saying in terms of that type of relationship. And he has, you know, without knowing him, just based on, you know, our conversation, it sounds like he has a lot of unresolved issues that he's not even aware of.
Right.
You know what I mean? If
Absolutely. I'm willing to take accountability for it, so that's a waste of time too.
Right, and it's you know, and I know that, you know, you're probably not interested in salvaging this relationship, but have you ever mentioned like couples counseling or anything like that to him?
I don't think it would serve people. No, there's a lot of infidelity. He lives double lives, and that's just how he'll always be. And I realized that it took me. I mean, it would be 5 years in January, but I mean, we went in kind of fast with the property and stuff. So it was very opportunistic, but then again, never did anything with it. And so I'm just a good cover, I think, for him, and he does everything else whenever he wants on the side. And I've just sort of been, you know, after a while I was really, what am I waiting for? In my mid-30s, I want happiness. I want a family, you know, and I'm on the back burner. So I deserve more than that, you know, and if I have to, you know, I'm not afraid to step on any toes now because it's not, you know, of course we'll play the victim, which is ridiculous, but, you know, we all come in with one life to live, and hopefully we find someone to accompany us, and if not, then they might not like it very much, but I'm not here to be his buoy.
No, you're right, or his punching bag, or victim, or, you know, Now, have you, I don't know if have you consulted a lawyer to see if there are any ways you can get out of this deal that you guys are in, or
we actually sold out and he reneged at the last minute. Again, a lot of control. Always find something wrong with it. So after Corona kind of became, I work in a law office. I mean, I got laid off as a result of the virus, but now that things are opening back up, yes, I just think finding the right person. I believe a female attorney would be a little bit different because, and again, I've worked with, there's nothing against masculinity, but there's a lot going on here where there's things going on behind my back, and it's just someone, he doesn't respect women. I know that about him living with him. And I mean his mother, anyone. I mean, he could pretend, very charming, but he doesn't have respect for women. I mean, that's really, I think, the caveat that I need to find the right female attorney who can present this in a strong manner. Most of it's pretty cut and dry. But, again, you just can't treat women that way or anybody,
Well, and that's, but that speaks volumes about himself. When a person puts other people down or disrespects someone else and it's not justified, really what they're doing is expressing their own insecurity.
Right.
So, there's a lot of, and I'm sure you're aware of it, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors with him. Like the infidelity, all of that stuff, that's insecurity. He's not comfortable with himself. Now, he may comes across, just like you said, he's good for the facade. He's good for putting on the show, but there is no substance,
Right.
And that's because on the inside, whether he's cognizant or not, there's a hollowness. He's lost.
Oh, yeah.
That's why. And I don't know his, I don't know his upbringing or anything like that, but you said even his mother he doesn't really respect. And,
She's not very nice. Very nice either. I mean, I haven't had much contact with them in 2 years. That's not really normal. I don't believe in, like there's the labels, normal or not normal. Everybody's got their own stuff. But,
right.
Yeah, relationships, when you meet someone, they progress along a certain, level. I mean, it's stagnant. I'm not 20. I'm 34. He's 38. This is kind of ridiculous. We're not playing house. This is life. You got to learn how to juggle it all. And if not, then you need to, people parent themselves. So that's not an excuse anymore. My father, like I said, has passed. I'm an only child. My mom's here. So I don't have excuses. I feel like a lot of what is going on is making it look like it's my grief or it's my holding it up. And I don't care what it looks like to anyone else. I've just now realized if I don't take action, it just feeds into his narrative that he's created, which is ridiculous. So I'm going to speak for myself now. I mean, take action, because sitting back and not wanting to emasculate the man in the relationship has left me just kind of what's going on, Yeah,
he's not going to let go easily.
I know.
I know. Okay, I was going to say, you do realize that he's not going to let go easily. He's controlling. He's manipulative. Yeah. He's deceptive. And he had you where he wanted you, but now you are breaking out of that emotional prison, so to speak, that, whatever hold he thought he had on you. You realize this is not what I want. This is not where it's not going in the direction that, I was expecting it to go in. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's not what you want. So it's time for you to move on, because you're not getting any younger. You want a family, and he's not going. Well, you already know he's not going to change. And I'm not blaming him, but he needs help. He doesn't need to be in a relationship with anyone, to be quite honest. He needs to find him.
So many other people. That's where I drew the line. And when it became known to me that the first female firefighter who started working with them 2 years ago, I mean, has 3 children. She's now out on stress leave for 6-7 months because of something he did or did not do. When that came to light, I mean, it was just like, wow. And she hasn't returned to work. So that's to share a little bit of information, but I don't know how some people sleep at night. So, I mean, for whatever it's worth, I know what I've endured in this personal relationship. For that to take place, a woman who's worked really hard to get to that position to go out on stress leave because of the hostile environment created as a result of whatever may or may not have happened. Nope. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry for, I've expressed that to her. I reached out, and I wish I had known sooner, but that's the person that really truly does need help. And I can't live by that. So if this helps anyone else that might be listening out there, that's why I wanted to share that, because no one should have to, you never know. And people tell a lot of lies. Like, you really don't know what you're getting. I'm a pretty strong woman. I consider myself one. I mean, it's not wrong to be open and vulnerable, but if you see red flags, don't ignore them, because if I could go back, I know a lot of them I looked the other way at. So
yes, and I was guilty of that too.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I support exactly what you're saying. You're right. And if someone is listening and they can benefit from it, because, oftentimes, I don't want to just say women, but, people feel like it's difficult or, too much of a challenge to separate themselves. They just can't imagine starting over again, or they just can't imagine being by themselves. And truthfully, they really do. When you break up with, from a bad breakup or one that's emotionally entangled, so to speak, you need some time to be by yourself. You need some, when I say be by yourself, not necessarily being, lonely, but not being in a relationship. You need support of friends and family and loved ones, just so you can heal before you start trying to offer yourself or make yourself available for someone who might actually be right for you.
Right.
And I'm not saying you per se, I'm just saying anyone who's, in a similar situation, and if they do decide to break it off, it takes time to heal, because you have to heal yourself. Like, you recognize that you've been through something that's kind of damaging to your spirit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you want to heal, you want to be healthy, you want to come back to your wholeness. So when you do decide to move forward, he won't even matter anymore.
Exactly.
He will just be a past experience, which is why I have no ill will towards my ex-husband.
Right.
You move, you heal. No one else can fix you. Now they can, you can go to counseling and they can help you heal, but as far as the healing process, that takes place within yourself. Whether you're a spiritual person or not, I don't know, but you have to be. I don't want to say you have. I'm sorry.
Especially I just wouldn't want anybody else to be. Yeah, I mean, that's his MO. I'm sure he's on a dating app now. If that's just something he needs for his own security, I understand that completely. I don't attach myself to that and no longer feel like unworthy or that, I wasn't good enough. I don't feel that way at all anymore, but there was a long time where I did. And it was just like a veil lift. I mean, it's just, that's not love, and that's codependency. That's, if I were to turn a blind eye to what I found out about with that other person, that's even worse. I mean, and it's not necessarily a blind eye, but it's just sort of like, wow, I mean, whoa, this is not what I want to be attached to. This isn't who I am. So I'll never actually show up to my own life with this attachment. So that's a lot of it too, is the energetic attachment, which is just, like, I try to stay as far away when he does come around, or keep it I have really strong boundaries. A lot of the time I just don't talk. And it infuriates him, but that's what you have to do. I mean, it's difficult to live like that, but, I mean, it's sort of a virus in and of itself. And, I feel terrible to say that, but I don't know how to fix that. That's not my job.
Right.
I mean.
You're absolutely right.
Yep. And it would be a lot easier, like I said, to just pack up and leave. But the financial entanglement that we share won't go away. And what I've seen happen before my own eyes living here, like vandalism or just things not working, and I just don't, that's not going to solve it. It's just that the whole thing needs to be closed off to begin that healing process, like you mentioned. So it's just, even though I wanted to begin yesterday or like 2 years ago, I just try to remind myself that it'll all happen in divine time, because I'm where I'm supposed to be right now, and I'm going in the right direction. There's no going back, even though I'm not going to jump into another relationship and I want that family. It will all happen in divine time. I just need to stay this course right now, no matter how slow it may feel.
Well, Carrie, it sounds like you are on the right track, lady. You just got to get that attorney. Look, I don't know if it's find that a real estate attorney or whatever specialist that. Well, you have connections. You used to work in a law office. I'm sure you know some folks. Yeah.
I'm like now. I'd rather just be someone that But yeah, I just have to now take that. And there's a little bit of fear behind that from how it's played out in the past, but I just have to rip the Band-Aid off. And I think just talking, especially with you right now, the more I talk about it, the easier it gets. because I'm processing it as I talk about it. So again, sorry for taking up too much of your time, but thank you for letting me share.
No problem. Well, Carrie, I'm glad that the conversation helped. And feel free to call in and share if you need to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and you have a great day, Carrie.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Interesting. Yeah, that was Carrie. She's an interesting lady, and she's got she knows which direction she needs to go in. So I'm happy about that. All right, we have another caller. Let's see what he or she would like to share with us. Hello, welcome to One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Hello?
Oh, hi. Hi.
Hi.
Are you doing readings? Or are you just taking comments?
Yes, no, I don't do readings. I'm not a good reader. I mean, I can read books. Yes,
okay,
no, I'm just taking, sir. No, if you had any questions or comments, or if you had anything that you want to share in terms of maybe difficult or trying times that you might be experiencing, I kind of help with those. But I'm not really good with forecasting the future, or that's not my thing. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, that's all right. Thank you anyway. Bye-bye.
Well, bye-bye. Oh, well, I guess I wasn't what he was looking for, but it's okay. But Carrie and way busy. Yes. So now Carrie is going through a relationship, but she has accepted that it's time to move on, and she is feeling empowered, and she's ready to grow forward or move forward. So it sounds like she's headed in the right direction. But I want to thank Way Busy and Carrie for calling in. I appreciate them sharing, and hopefully I was of some assistance, particularly to Carrie. Way Busy is always good as far as sharing his spiritual energy. I love that. Okay, so let's get back to the script. Accept change and grow forward. Okay. So, I was talking about in previous episodes about, the whole process of manifestation, that it's basically the conscious and the subconscious, and together they create an experience. That's the whole process. It's the energy, the male energy plus the female energy. The energy is transformed, and then it's manifested physically as an experience. Well, people say all the time, well, how come I'm not doing anything? Because we have blockages, conditions, impediments that basically has gotten clogged in the pathway. I look at the kind of like the spine as, or not necessarily a spine, but basically going in that direction is the connection between the, the conscious and the subconscious. Excuse me. So we have to remove these impediments. So in order to manifest, so if you're looking for love and you have, like, for instance, Carrie's significant other, he will always find women. That won't ever be a problem, but he will never really enjoy a quality, healthy relationship that, is based on truth, love, fidelity, commitment, things of that nature, until he uncovers, releases his own blockages and conditions. So I'm not sure if there's something that happened in his childhood, or if this is from karma from a previous incarnation. But he has a ways to go, or so it sounds. Now it can be done instantly. It can be done instantly. As far as if you tune in to God, but people don't go from being maniacal and egotistical to snapping their fingers and tuning in to God, and all of a sudden, I'm healed. It's generally a process. That's why I have this show. It's a process. But how we can make those changes. So we start with our thoughts. Okay. Well, you can start one of two ways. We'll start with the thoughts, and then we'll go the opposite direction. So you start with your thoughts. what do you think about love? What do you think about money? What do you think about whatever it is that you desire to have in your life? Do you want more of it, whatever it is, or do you want to limit whatever it is? Okay. So you have these thoughts. And then you have to have feelings attached to them. Now, if you're not manifesting, it's because the two don't go together. So let's say, for example, I like using money or love, but, let's go with money. And I think I've said this before, like with money, you have to dig and figure out, why you're not manifesting if it's money. Now, if it's something else like career and stuff, and then the money just comes with it, that's fine. But if your focus is just on money itself, even then you have to realize that you might feel a certain way about money. You might feel a certain way about rich people, and you may not even be aware of it. So while on the one hand you're saying, I want to be rich, or I want to be comfortable, I want to be financially stable, I want to be financially stable, or comfortable to the extent where I can get to travel or whatever it is that I want to do. You might want those things on the one hand, but then on the other hand, okay, because everything is polarized, then on the other hand, like I said, you might feel a certain type of way. You might feel a certain type of way about rich people. You might automatically associate money with being elitist. So you have to slow down, and really you're analyzing yourself. How do I really feel about money? I know what I say, but how do I really feel? What thoughts come to mind? And it might not be a situation where you just ask the question and then the thoughts start flooding forward. You may have little small experiences, like you may overhear someone say something, and you notice that it makes you feel a certain type of way. You may see something, an image on TV, now relative to money and wealth and things of that nature, and attitudes towards it. And when you recognize, these feelings that seems like it may be conflicting with, what you desire, then that's when you recognize then that, okay, there's a conflict here. Okay, because these feelings didn't come from nowhere. If you notice them, then that's basically the universe saying, hey, you was asking about how come, the money isn't just falling out the sky for you, and here's one reason why. Because you do feel a certain type of way about wealth or money or, abundance or prosperity or whatever it is. Like I said, the cliche, money is the root of all evil, and it's not. But, that's another story. So we have to change how we think, okay? So when we do that, because the reason we want to change the way we think, because we want to associate feelings with it, okay? So if the thoughts are, if you recognize that you have some negative thoughts, so you want to start thinking positively about love or money. So with love, you don't presume that that all partners will cheat, okay? You don't look, but you know what you want. You want someone who's loving and faithful, standing, and whatever it is that you want. You might want someone adventurous. Someone else might want someone that's stable. So whatever it is that you're looking for, it's the characteristics, okay? Don't hone in on a person, because that person might not be for you for whatever reason. Everything that looks good to you isn't good for you, okay? So, and that's what Way Busy was talking about when we were talking about harmony. His whole thing is he wants to flow. He wants to flow in the rhythm of nature and God, and I absolutely understand that, because I feel the same way. You kind of want to take yourself out of what you want, because we're here to express God's gift that's within us. But if we on our own, we got our own agenda, then, we, and not to say that that's bad, because God's not saying, well, if you're not following me, then, all hell's going to break loose. Well, no, God's not saying that, because as an individuated soul or spirit, we have the same power as God to manifest. We just have to align. Ours is just a two-prong process, or a two-part process. We have to align our conscious and subconscious in order to manifest. They have to match. So, there's only really three values positive, neutral, and negative. So if the conscious is positive, then the subconscious should either be neutral or positive. If the conscious is neutral, then the subconscious should be positive or neutral. If the conscious is negative, well, in order to manifest, then the subconscious would have to be negative. So that's how we get all kinds of negative manifestations in our life, okay? We have negative thoughts, we engage in negative speech, and then we have supporting negative feelings to go with it. Well, guess what? It's aligned, good, bad, or indifferent. So the negative thoughts is aligned with the negative feelings, and manifestation is on its way, okay? So that's why you have to be mindful. So to change that, you think about what you want, a loving relationship, what that looks like, or wealth, what does that look like? If you had wealth, what would you do with it? What would you do with it? You know, I want a bamboo farm. I want a bamboo farm, and I want to build tree houses and tiny house villages. So if I was a billionaire, or when I am a billionaire, that's what I want to do, because the bamboo, of course, it's a grass, so you don't have to abuse the ecosystem by cutting down all the trees. Bamboo is a grass; it grows fast, and it replenishes itself much more quickly than trees. You know, and I think it provides more oxygen as well. But anyway, my point is this. Whatever, you know, if your thing is money, what do you plan to do with it? You know, is it a business? Then let's focus on your business. If it's a school or travel, whatever it is that you want, focus your thoughts on that. And what does that look like in your mind? And then what feelings, what beautiful and positive feelings are associated with these thoughts and images that you are creating. Like I said once before, that's the purpose of a vision board. It's so when you see these images, because the subconscious communicates in images. So when you see these images, you know, they evoke a certain feeling, hopefully a positive one or a neutral one, so that it aligns with your conscious. So that's how we manifest. Okay, I don't have much time left. So let me jump into my Facebook post from this morning. It basically it reads that family and friends, please be mindful of repeating and integrating the Black Lives Matter protest mantra, I can't breathe. Breath is our gift from God. We can live 30 days without food, only 3 days without water, and a mere 3 minutes without air or breathing. Now, as I say all the time, it takes 3 weeks to make or break a habit, 3 weeks to program your subconscious, okay? So if your mind iterates this phrase, I can't breathe, enough times, amplified by verbal and written words. So when you look at the protesters, you see they have on the T-shirts that I can't breathe. They even have the face masks and over the mouth and nose piece. You know, well, it's the face mask, which is over the nose and mouth. But anyway, it reads, I can't breathe. And this is amplifying the message. So, you know, my sweetie had sent me something, and it was around this I can't breathe and basically subconscious or programming, you know, subconscious programming, and of course the thing is we don't want to get caught up in that, but this is how programming works. This is exactly how programming works. Okay, so now no one out there, I'm positive, wants to say that, you know, wants to be in a position where they can't breathe, but yet this is what we're promoting, okay? Or this is what is being promoted, all right? So eventually the subconscious will be programmed or reprogrammed to comply, which is what I was just telling you about as far as manifestation and aligning your conscious with your subconscious. So, and about how to change the thought. So it works the same way with making a habit. Remember, the subconscious doesn't judge. Good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't know. It's just, does it line up with what the consciousness is kicking? Are we on the same page? Great. Let's go manifest. We're not on the same page. Try again. And that's basically it. Try again. And if you are persistent and you keep trying again, guess what? The subconscious becomes reprogrammed. And now the subconscious is saying to itself, now think about that. Now think about this. So what are you attracting or inviting into your reality? I just said, I'm not saying that a police officer is going to kill everyone, all the protesters, although I'm sure there's a few out there who would probably like to. But what I'm saying is, there's no such thing as coincidence, accidents, or happenstance. And this I can't breathe protest is smack dab in the middle of a global pandemic which affects breathing. Now, I used to be a conspiracy theorist, and I'm sure some people probably would beg to differ, but excuse me. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping it's all wrong. I'm hoping that this will dissipate. But it's just strange how the protesters have really been embraced when police officers have been killing black people for years, decades, centuries. How about that? Okay. So all I'm saying is, and this is still a part of the post, think before we emotionally jump on the bandwagon lock, stock, and barrel. Now, in this case, I'm saying, for your own self. I'm not telling Black Lives Matter to change their slogan, although somebody might want to recommend it. But certainly for your own personal cleansing, flip the script, emphasize and embody. Breath is life. I will breathe. Breath for life. I breathe for George Floyd. I breathe for Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner. These are trying times, and we are being tried. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have gone over my time. Thank you so much. I don't think I talked that much about growing forward, but hopefully I did. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully this resonated with someone. It resonated with Carrie, so I am pleased. Because if it reaches one person and it makes a difference, even a little bit of difference, I'm pleased because then I express God in a positive light. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting choked up. It's time for me to move on. Thank you so much. Have a happy hump day, and I will talk to you next Wednesday. And next Wednesday also on our political sister show, we have Political Star Talk. With Sybil Starr and Jenny McDaniel and myself, but that is on our sister channel, Third Eye Politics. Political Third Eye? Oh, shucks. Okay. All right. I'm sure there's a commercial for it that I could actually play. But at any rate, I will catch you next weekend. Until then, I love you and goodbye.